Shalom, 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 Yasharala. This your boy, Brother Samuel, back at you with another quick edifying video, right? This is just going into the grand jury declines to indict woman in Emmett Till killing, right? So first and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory. I want to say, Kala Yahweh Ba'Shem Mashiach Yahushai Ba'Shem Rakakadash, right? That's all praises to the Most High, the Heavenly Father, whose name is Yahweh, right? And his Son, who's Yahweh Shai, right? And the Holy Spirit, right? So, like I said, that's just, I think I was reading this yesterday. I want to say it came out yesterday. It doesn't have a release date, but I think it said, it says release Tuesday. So I believe this article was from Tuesday or the other day. And this is from the Associated Press, right? And it says grand jury declines to indict woman in Emmett Till killing, right? So we're just going to read a little bit of it, okay? Jackson, Mississippi, right? A Mississippi grand jury has declined to indict the white woman whose accusations set off the lynching of black teenager Emmett Till nearly 70 years ago, right? So this is from 70 years ago. Most likely closing the case that shocked a nation and galvanized the modern civil rights movement, right? So the grand jury basically declined to indict this woman or charge this woman, right? It says, after hearing more than 7 hours of testimony from investigators, the witnesses of the Lafleur County grand jury last week determined that there was insufficient evidence to indict Carolyn Bryant Donham on charges of kidnapping and manslaughter. Lafleur County District Attorney Dwayne Richardson said in a news release Tuesday, right? It says the decision comes despite recent revelations about an unserved arrest warrant and the 87-year-old Donham's unpublished memoir, right? Keep reading. It says the Reverend Wheeler Parker Jr., Emmett Till's cousin and the last living witness to Till's August 28, 1955 abduction, said Tuesday's announcement is unfortunate but predictable, right? So he said it's unfortunate, but it's predictable, right? Because we know what happens here, right? We're going to go into some scriptures after this, after I read this, proving that, right? It says the prosecutors tried his best, and we appreciate his efforts, but he alone cannot do hundreds of years of anti-black systems that guarantee those who killed Emmett Till would go unpunished to this day, Parker said in a statement, right? Let me see if I'm just going to keep going. Let's see. Here we go. The fact remains that the people who abducted, tortured, and murdered Emmett did so in plain sight, and our American justice system was and continues to be set up in such a way that they could not be brought to justice for their heinous crimes, right? And in another article, I was reading it. It was basically, they came to the house where he was staying, man, and abducted this boy, right? This young man, right? This Israelite brother, man. They abducted him, and then they tortured and murdered this brother, man, right? Let me jump down because then they kind of explain it too. Let's see. Let's see. In June, a group searching the basement of the Lafleur County courthouse discovered the unserved arrest warrant charging Dunham, then husband Roy Bryant, and brother-in-law J.W. Millam in Till's abduction in 1955. While the men were arrested and acquitted on murder charges in Till's subsequent slaying, Dunham Donham, 21, at the time was never taken into custody, right? And I'm gonna jump down to and keep going. It says Teal's battered, disfigured body was found days later in a river, where it was weighed down with heavy metal fan. The decision by his mother, Mammy Till Mobley, to open Till's casket for his funeral in Chicago demonstrated horror of what happened and added fuel to the civil rights movement, right? So, and if you've seen that footage, man, for a mom to have an open casket, with her son, the way they did him, man, it was eye opening, right? Um, let's see. I want to get to the point where they were talking about Slovakia. So go down. Where is it? Where they said they did it. Let's see. Slovakia declined. Let's see. I think it's okay right here. It says, following their acquittal, Bryant and Millam admitted to the abduction and killing in an interview with Look magazine. They were not charged with a federal crime, and both have long since died, right? So they actually admitted to doing this, right? The husband and some other dude, right? But it says in 2004, the U.S. Department of Justice Department opened an investigation of Till's killing after it received inquiries about whether charges could be brought against anyone still living, right? It says Till's body was exhumed in part to confirm it was he. A 2005 autopsy found that Till died of a gunshot wound to the head and that he had fractures in his wrists, bones, skull, and femur, right? In 2006, the FBI launched its cold case initiative in an effort to identify and investigate racially motivated murders. 2 years later, Congress passed the Emmett Till Unsolved Crime Act, right? So they even made a crime act in his name, right? But still did not even bring, all the people involved, right, to justice, right? That's how we know this place is not set up for us, man, right? But that's what I was just going into, man. When I was reading it, it was just we know what to expect, and like right here it says his cousin, basically it says the Reverend Wheeler Parker Jr., Emmett Till's cousin and the last living witness of Till's August 28, 1955 abduction, said Tuesday's announcement is unfortunate but predictable, right? It says this, but it's predictable, right? And we know that, right? And we know that especially, when we know the scriptures, man. So let's get into this, right? Let's get into some of these scriptures real quick. Right, this is gonna be a brief one, right? But I just wanted to get into that, right? So let's get into this real quick. We're gonna go. Let's start off at in the book of. Let's try the book of Lamentations, right? Let's go to the book of Lamentations, chapter 4. Let's start at verse 17, right? It's the book of Lamentations, chapter 4, verse 17. It says, as for our eyes, Salakia, as for us, our eyes as yet failed for our vain help. In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us, right? America and their justice system is not set up to save you so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, right? And we keep getting that burden of evidence and proof each and every day, right? right? Emmett Till, like I said, this thing was like almost 70 years old, man. And even still, you still have people who are involved still alive. You had an unissued warrant that was hid right in the basement of the county courthouse, right? And still, nothing is being done, right? But the scriptures tell us that. It says, as for us, our eyes as yet failed for our vain help. In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us. Hey, America is not going to save you. It's not even set up to uh to benefit you, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, because you are the Israelites, right? Let me keep reading. In verse 18, it says, they hunt our steps that we cannot go in our streets, right? Our end is near. Our days are fulfilled and our end is come, right? So guess what? Um, you know, they hunt our steps. What they went looking for this brother, right? They was knocking, they was beating on doors, and they came to the young brother's house and abducted him from the house that he was staying with his family members, man. Right? So, it's real, right? Let me keep reading. It says, our persecutors are swifter than the eagles of the heaven, right? And who uses the eagle as their mascot, right? But Esau, right? The so-called white man, right? And it says, they pursued us upon the mountains and they laid wait for us in the wilderness, right? So they lay wait for us, man. This place is not set up for us, right? Let's get another one, talking about that it goes into it, right? Let's go to the book of Deuteronomy, right? Let's go into the curses, right? 28, and let's start at let's see. Let's start at verse 49, right? It says, the Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, right? And we know that these nations, that Esau's nations, use the eagle as their mascot, right? Whether it be Spain, America, like all these nations, they use the eagle as their mascot, right? But it says, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand, a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young, right? They didn't show no favor to this young man, right? They didn't show no favor to this young man, right? He admitted that he whistled, hey, but he said he didn't touch her, right? But they didn't care. They didn't care. You know what I'm saying? But then on the other hand, right, I'm led to believe, right, the reason why they didn't persecute her, right, or keep going, trying to prosecute her, because she was old, right? But they'll show favor to their old. Oh, well, she's too old, she's not going to be able to stand in court. This is what they're thinking, man. Right? We're not ignorant of his devices, man, of Satan's devices. We know this is why they didn't indict. Right? Oh, there's not enough evidence. Well, listen, you had a warrant that's been sitting there collecting dust for over 70 years, right? And you still can't do it. So that's the problem, right? But it says, a nation of fierce countenance which shall not regard the person of old, nor show favor of the young, right? So, and they did not do that, right, for that young brother, right? Let's get another one, right? Let's go to another classic, right? And the thing is, it's all these scriptures are always relevant because it's continuing to happen to us, right? So this is the book of Zechariah, right, chapter 11 and verse 5. It says, whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty, right? They just said that they're not going to charge this lady, right? She's like 80 something years old, right? They don't want to charge her, right? Yet they had a warrant for her arrest, right? But they don't want to charge her. But it says, what does the scripture say? This is Zechariah 11 and 5. Whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. And they that sell them say, blessed be Yahweh Bashim Ashai, for I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not. Right? Like this was on this is in the Associated Press, right? But you don't hear people talking about this, right? I just happened to skim through and I just saw it, clicked on it, right? But you don't hear people really talking about it, right? But then, like that brother, he was saying, he said that it's unfortunate, but it's predictable. Why? Because the scriptures tell you whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty, right? So we got already assumed that we already know through the scriptures, hey, they're going to be doing this, and then they're not going to be holding themselves accountable for what they've done, right? And that's what we know, man. And they've been doing this for so long. They've been doing this for hundreds of years, man. Damn, thousands of years, right? Let's get that, right? Let's go to the book of Daniel, right? Let's go to the book of Daniel, 7, right? In verse 25, and it says, and he shall speak great words against the Most High, right? Esau he speaks great words against the Most High. He thinks he's the Most High, right? And it says, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, right? Who are the saints? You so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You are God's chosen people. You are the saints according to the scriptures, right? But it says he's going to wear out the saints of the Most High, right? And to think to change times and laws, right? And they shall be given into his hand until a time and the times and the dividing of times, right? Because we know that the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, right? And we know who the wicked is, man. It's Esau. It's the people who do this, right? Who killed this young brother, right? Who abducted this young brother and killed him in cold blood and then hold themselves not guilty, right? Let's go to another one, right? Let's go to the book of Ezekiel, right? Chapter 35, right? And we'll start at verse 5. Actually, we'll go to, I'm just going to read verse 2, right? It says, verse 1, moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir and prophesy against it, right? So Mount Seir, right? That's where Esau comes from, right? So this is talking about Esau, right? It says, because thou, I'm slacking, verse 5, right? This is Ezekiel 35 and 5. It says, because thou hast a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end, right? So in our time that we was going off, we start disobeying the Most High, right? And the curses got upon us. Hey, but Esau has been chasing us this whole time, right? Or the Edomites, right? They have been chasing us this whole time, and they've been killing us, right? Because they have a perpetual hatred. A perpetual means an ongoing, right? So they have an ongoing hatred and have shed the blood of the children of Israel. And we see that all the time, right? Especially back then, right? Where you can go out there, you can snatch a young brother, right? Israelite brother or sister, right? Do whatever, right? And then you hold yourself not guilty, man, right? Let's read. Let's read on to verse 6. It says, therefore, as I live, saith Yahweh Bashim Yashai, thy power, I will prepare unto thee blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. Right? Thus will I make Mount Seir most desolate, and cut off him that passeth out, and him that returneth. Right? So the Most High's judgment on these people, man, because of what they've done, right, is that they're going to be taken off this earth forever, right? When you read the book of Obadiah, right? But because they've had this perpetual, this ongoing hatred for us from the beginning, right? This is what they got, right? And this is, one of the things, when Yahushua come back, he coming back to avenge, man. He's coming back to avenge the blood of the saints, right? To sit us back in our true rulership, back in our kingdom, right? So let's get this real quick, right? So even though, guess what? America, right? They don't want to do good, you know, and uh, to repay what they've done to our people, hey, don't matter, because guess what? Yahweh Shai coming back to do that, right? So let's get this. Let's go to the book of Isaiah. We're gonna go to 63. And start at verse 1, right? It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 63, and verse 1. It says, "Who is this that cometh from Edom?" Right? Edom is where Esau is, right? "With dyed garments from Basra. This that is glorious in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength. I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save," right? This is a future prophecy. So this hasn't happened yet, right? This is the coming back of Yahweh Shai, right? Let's keep reading. It says, "Wherefore art thou red in thy apparel, and thy garments like him that treadeth in a wine fat," right? So his garment looks like it's dyed red, like he was stepping in a wine press, right? It says, reading on, it says, "I have trodden the winepress alone, and of the people there was none with me. For I will tread them in my anger, and trample them in my fury, and their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments, and I will stain all my raiment," right? So it's not going to be one part of his raiment that's not going to be stained in the blood, right? Of the Edomites, right? These people who are doing this to our people, man, to the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, right? This is future prophecy. It says, "For the day of vengeance is in my heart," right? That's the day of the Lord, "and the year of my redeem is come," right? And let's read on, right? This is the key part. It says, "And I looked, and there was none to help, and I wondered that there was none to uphold," right? There was nobody to to help the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans out, or the Israelites, right? There was no one to help, right? So he was kind of shocked. And he wondered, like, why is there no one to help, right? It says, "Therefore my own arm brought salvation unto me, and my fury it upheld me. And I will tread down the people in my anger, and make them drunk in my fury, and I will bring down their strength to the earth," right? So this is when he's going to be just destroying these other nations and destroying Esau, man, right? For what they've done and what they've done to his people, man. Because Christ came back for the Israelites, right? Christ died so that we could have salvation. The Israelites, he came back for his people, Israel, right? So this is what we got to understand, man, right? We can't look for America and their justice system, right, to give us justice. We can't look for that. The Bible tells us not to look for that, right? We already know what's going on, right? I got one more and I'm gonna close it out, right? This is the Salakia. It's the book of Baruch, right? Chapter 4, and verse number 25, right? It says, "My children, suffer patiently the wrath that is come upon you from the Most High, for thine enemy hath persecuted thee," right? "But shortly thou shalt see his destruction, and thou shalt tread upon his neck," right? This is what we gotta. This is what we look forward to, man. This is our patience, man, as the saints, right? That guess what? The time is gonna come shortly, right? We've suffered, right, and we've suffered, long enough, man. We know that we at the end. We at the end times, right? This is the last days, man. We've been living in the last days, right, since the days of Christ, but now they're even nearer than when we believe, man, right? But it says, "My children, suffer patiently the wrath that is come upon you from the Most High, for thine enemy hath persecuted thee," right? Abducted us, right? Tortured and murdered us, right? But it says, "But shortly thou shalt see his destruction, and shall tread upon his neck," right? So payback is coming back, man, through Yahweh Shai, man, through Yahweh by Yahweh Shai. It's coming back, man. That payback is coming back. So we just gotta wait patiently, man. Right? We gotta stay faithful, right? We gotta have that belief in these last days, right? And this is our time to get it right, man, because we want to see the downfall of our enemies, right? That's what we're looking for, right? to be saved from our enemies, according to Luke 1:68, right? Let's get that real quick. Right, this is what we're looking for, man. Right? So we're not worried about what uh, this justice system is talking about, man. Because we already know that it's faulty, man. Right? But we know that Yahweh Shai is coming back for us, right? It says, I'll start at verse 68. This is Luke chapter 1 and verse 68. It says, Blessed be Yahweh thy power of Israel, for he hath visited and redeemed his people, and have raised up a horn of salvation for us in the house of his servant David, right? That's talking about Yahweh Shai, as he spoke by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have been since the world began, that we should be saved from our enemies and from the hand of all that hate us, right? So this is where Yahweh Shai is coming back. This is that gospel. This is that good news that we been hearing, right? So we just gotta be patient, right? Right. So I hope this video has been edifying, right? I want to give all praises, honor, and glory. I want to say Kahala Yahweh by Shema Mashiach Yahweh Shai by Shemra Kakadash. Right. Peace and blessing to the 12 tribes scattered abroad. Right. Almighty Shalom to the elect. Right. Keep striving, keep praying for one another, keep fasting, right? Hold fast, keep the faith, and keep enduring, man. Right? And with that, Shalom.